Hello everybody, welcome to episode 54 of the Contest Round podcast. If you don't already, we're available on Spotify, Soundcloud and iTunes podcasts. Please remember to follow, like and do all that lovely stuff on the respective platforms and support. Also, for those that do not know, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Dan of Frontline MCOC. You can find his site available, frontlinemcoc.home.blog, in the bio below, and as well on the Twitters, which links are also on in the description down below. Hello, Dan.
Rich, how we doing?
We're doing good. I think it is a week. It has not been a week of new, well, it has been a week of new and fantastic things, but it's always it's always very weird because you kind of go like December. I always kind of do a test of December based on like what's going on. Because December's like, hey, it's Monday, new content. Wednesday, new content. Friday, we're learning about new content.
We got a variant. We got Act 7. We got an update. Like, December's just like, we got, it's like every 3 days. Gifting and like, it's all that kind of stuff. I think we had just had an AQ update as well. So, I mean, December's just madness every year. It's so much fun. November and December are always my favorite months of the year for the game because... It's like that end of the year hype, so much stuff, those huge rewards, and December with the calendars and gifting event. Oh, it's a lot of fun. So it's usually a little bit slower start to the year, but March has got some stuff. We just had the boss rush this week, which gave everybody a bunch to talk about, which is awesome. But I think one thing that you dropped, which was really cool. Is this Cavalier monthly cheat sheet? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is one of these weird things, isn't it? When you just go like, I've got an idea for something, I'll put it out and see what happens. The first month, it went down so well that I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to like do something more with this. And then there's people, and I love this, by the way. I love when people take an idea and they create infographics, especially when you see the amazing work done by Kat Murdoch and everyone else that does them as well. Not just like singling out Kat, but CCP Massive. Got to show the love and respect. But Papa's Squishy. I think I said that correctly because apparently it's not Papa's Squishy, it's Papa's Squishy, apparently. So he created a fantastic infographic, and what I've decided to do on a monthly basis is just adapt and improve it. Because I'm thinking like, I need something like, Seaton's got his tier list, which he updates on a monthly basis. I need something myself that I update on a monthly basis where I kind of go, I'll float in this champion and that champion and create MVP status for some of them, adapt it, improve it. But it's just one of these things where I just thought, let's just put something out there. And it's nice to get an opinions back on people on it and kind of get a real kind of like feel for it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, and I'm not done with Cavalier difficulty this month. I know you usually get through it on the opening weekend, but I think we had both been talking about the fact that the runs through Cavalier seem to be going quicker each month, which is great. That's definitely been my feeling on that, and they continue to tweak these nodes. And there's some that I feel like I have really good counters for. There's some where I'm not really sure what the point is. Like the mutant one, I don't know that I quite understand what the point is. Like I just see your list of counters. It's like, I'm bringing Namor, Archangel, and Sunspot, and that seems to work fine. But then there's other ones like the skill one, where my Black Widow Deadly Origin and my new rank 2 duped Falcon just have a field day, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, Black Widow Deadly Origin was like a revelation.
That node is just perfect for her. And I think we both talked about this, that we kind of slept on her a little bit when she was added to the contest. I don't know if we were a little more hyped about Red Guardian or what, but she's really good. And she's great for that node.
Absolutely. I resonated with Red Guardian a bit too much, and keeping on the subject of Cavalier difficulty, I love the fact that there was a champion that had decent block proficiency, had off the SP1 a slow debuff. But now it's a case, and by the time this podcast comes out, I'm starting to do a new series. Like, there's 2 new series. Like, I'll quickly touch on something that I'm actually working to a degree with you, Dan. That's the grind show. But the video that will go on out today, so Sunday earlier, is I have now replaced She-Hulk as my main slow debuff champion. And kind of like the reason that it kind of factors into what we're talking about is Cavalier difficulty. I am having immense fun with the science-based nodes. That Contagion is giving me that poison debuff, but with the fact that I've got a poison immune in She-Hulk, she's building those passive furies and creating those 10 as permanent on her. Plus whatever I can build up with, I think it's 10 actually, I think it's 10 passive furies, plus the ones that I get from her kit abilities, means that she's absolutely demolishing. And especially amazing this month, having that I think it's Nightcrawler was just before you go to Odin. So it's just parry heavy and then just like figure out repeating that down the line. Oh, fantastic.
And MSD would be so proud of you, Rich.
Yeah, I made a little kind of like note to him in the video that I've put out, but it's just
that note is really good for the Hulks. I will admit I pretty much Human Torch and Void the entire science chapter. They've been my go-to since it was diss track.
Yeah.
For that chapter, and I'm looking at some of the other ones. The tech, I think you and I are both like all Warlock all the time, probably.
Oh, that is so much fun. So much fun.
It's like, what if your Warlock had all that utility and all the damage? It's a great time. It's a great time. Yeah, and I've done a little Hulkbuster, a little Sentinel. I'm looking at your list, but it's really, you can, if you have a champ like Warlock, you can just run the whole lane.
And that's the thing. I'll probably do a video. I've actually planned it on next week's slate to do a my favourite Cavalier grind teams and why, which is just like it just goes over some of the ones I've really enjoyed. I think I've totaled it up. I've done 4 streams this week. I did 4 live streams, and each of those live streams either totaled up to 1.5 hours or 2 hours respectively. I think, if my math served me correctly, because I finished this on Thursday, that it was 6 hours and a half, maybe 7 hours. Yeah, about 6 to 7 hours, maybe pushing close to like 8 hours if I ever look back through the stats. But that's
not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. I decided to break it up because after a while my device doesn't really run the game particularly well. I think after like an hour of like the phone being constantly playing MCOC, it just doesn't play out.
Gets a little tired.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I just think, right, I've had enough. I've got a few too many dropped inputs. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's the way to kind of like deal with it. So how are you finding some of the bosses in this month's questing?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think the Jane Foster boss is actually was generating a bit of talk in my line chat this morning, and I think some people felt it was a little bit of a restrictive fight because of the EMP shock, and I think it was a good back and forth. Like, do you need a shock immune? But we were talking about like non-shock immune options. Like, I was using my 6-star G-Hulk for that fight, and he worked really well. So I don't know. It's it's always a balancing act, but I do think there was some talk about that fight just because Jane Foster doesn't usually cause people problems.
Yeah.
So there was kind of that, like, okay, like why is she so tough? And I think EMP is always a little bit dicey because it is a passive damage.
Yeah.
So it does, yes, the true shock immunes are fine, but there's a couple of those that are like, they're immune to shock debuffs or reduce shock debuff damage, but they're not immune to the passive. And of course, like you can't use a Captain Marvel movie against her because she's a mystic, even, and throw the energy damage back at her.
It's annoying, isn't it? Because a lot of the cosmics you might want to use are just class disadvantage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Other than that, I haven't gone through all the bosses yet, so I don't have anything to say about Odin or Mangog. I would say that the Mystic one is the Mystic Paths in general. That's the node that makes me think the most. That unstoppable, you really have to play around that.
Yeah.
Been running a lot of Mojo on that, my 565 Mojo, and ramping him up and throwing those unstoppables back at the opponent as degen. But if that's not working, it's doom slapping all
Yeah.
day long, which
I
I'll bet you're doing.
Yeah, well, I've actually been changing my perspective on how I dealt with that. She-Hulk, one
Oh,
of them,
really?
but it's
Oh,
Sorcerer Supreme on pre-fight, starting off with is it something of Econ or something like that. The one where you start
okay.
off
So
with
you get the slow right away.
yeah. I just felt
Yeah.
like that was
Oh,
kind of
that's
like
great.
an efficient rotation. It's been difficult, and this is one of the reasons I put the video that's going out prior to this one about who I prioritize as my slow debuff champion. As of, I think it was, I never picked up a slow debuff champion until I picked up Red Guardian, and I think that has been very much kind of September, October time of last year. So that was my first ever slow debuff champion that I could theoretically use in any kind of rotation.
Right.
And until like I did have She-Hulk, but we didn't have the type of node improvements that we currently have, nor did I kind of have the inclination to think, hey, you got She-Hulk, why don't you rank her up? So now it's a case of going, look, this fits well with doing at least 2, maybe even 3 things, because I can do Mixmaster with the skill path, the mystic path with the unstoppable, and as well science. So it kind of like, I think I missed talking about that in my video, but that's 3 elements of interaction in Cavalier difficulty, which improves my value for ranking up and using She-Hulk. So
Pretty good.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay, one thing that I want to move on quickly before we get into talking about incursions, and I do want to talk about the Clobbering Time omission in a minute.
Oh yeah. There's the high skill guys are having some fun in incursions right now.
They are. So the show that I was just like alluding to is that I was kind of with this idea for a show which kind of implements a lot of stuff that Dan does this amazing work on Frontline MCOC. Links in the description, by the way. Go to the site. He puts together this monthly calendar, letting players know when there's loads of different things. Roster availability between Alliance Wars and Alliance Quest, when Alliance Quest returns, Alliance War seasons, new events, arenas, in particular the Catalyst-based arenas, Tier 1 Alpha, the Clash, Catalyst Clash, and as well the Tier 1 Alpha and the Tier 4 Basic, the important ones. So what I'm doing is on a Saturday, I'm incorporating the elements of that, and we do a lot of homage to Dan. And thank you, Dan, as well for allowing me to use that.
Oh
info.
no, absolutely.
And as well, like add a few like extra bits to it. Like I'm trying to bring in, and I forgot to do it this week, but I wanted to bring in the rotation dates of the level up. So on Twitter, the person behind the level up account, I want to kind of implement some stuff with that and kind of get more of that into the show. Speculation of stuff like, okay, well, this is likely when this event will drop, and it's basically called The Grind, the Marvel Contest of Champions Grind. It basically puts you in the know. It's a Saturday show that puts you in the know of all the things coming on next week, and that's what I wanted to do, is kind of like make a little Saturday show to kind of like add more to the MCN product. I should do my own network, but in any case, again, thanks to Dan. And incursions now. Did you see 20 rooms? I saw
20 rooms.
C Trainer also said that a friend. Now I don't know if this is in conjunction, so I'm not going to say this was Clobbering Time, not giving that extra bit of information. Said 3,600 units was spent in order to get to zone 20 of incursions. How do we feel about that?
I mean, hungry for those 6-star sig stones, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. One thing I would say, there's a couple things I like about this is it is that little extra incentive for people to push, which I think is cool, right? Like in the past, like the 5-star featured arena was kind of that spicy thing where it's like, who's going for the champ? And like, now it's kind of like, all right, like who's really trying to get to zone 20 in incursions, and what is it costing them, and how are they doing it? I kind of dig that. Like, I wouldn't want to do it myself, but I'm interested in those who are good enough to do it. I don't know that it's worth it for that few sig stones, but I guess if you're at the top, it is. The other thing I think that's cool is like the players that are doing this are the same ones that are saying we want something harder.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, like if incursions can be that for you, and you feel like the reward's worth it, and you're being challenged, like that's a win-win, and it's not hurting the rest of us. It's not like, oh, like I have to battle through pre-nerf Act 6.
Yeah.
Because you wanted something really, really hard. This kind of gives them a sandbox to play in. But I think the craziest thing is how long it takes.
Oh God, yeah. I think there was a bit of not miscommunication, but again, like seeing, and I don't know if they're connected, Sea Trader and Clobbering Time. One was saying 6 hours, the other person was saying upwards of. No, actually, no. I think Clobbering Time did say that. I think he said over 6 hours. So a roundabout time being 8 hours of grind does put it into that. I think Abyss of Legends territory.
Yeah, I mean that's pre-Aegon Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That was like, all right, you got to sit down and plan out your day around this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can spread it out over like 5 days, and the nice thing about incursions is it doesn't lock your champs out of other game modes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I personally find like after an hour and I'm getting towards 9 or 10, like I'm getting a little tired just as it's getting really hard.
Yeah. And even when we used to do the streams on a Friday, it would be like 1 hour and a half, and we were kind of like again approaching that kind of like room 10 territory. And it's like oh right, it's like time goes on of it, and it's just like oof. But you say, was it like 800 to 1 million hit points on some of the particular either bosses that they were facing off against? So that's some crazy amount of hit pools to go up against.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I have my rank 3 Captain Marvel movie. She's kind of my go-to in incursions right now. And I've only done one run with the new hacks, and they're a little bit all over the place. Like there's a lot of degen, a lot of power sting. So I don't know how much that's going to help my Captain Marvel movie. But I am thinking about bringing Mojo in next time to see if I can just stack on all the new degen hacks.
Yeah.
Because I think that could be really cool.
Yeah. That would be interesting to go, because we're in a similar situation. I've got my Apocalypse, and I'm thinking because of like the SP2 and degeneration that can be built through that. Even more so if I'm able to get up to the SP3 after the SP2 and keeping that more permanent degen effect on the enemy, especially in longer fights, could be more of a benefit. Yeah. So I need to consider that as a potential option there. As well, being persistent means that I could get some good damage in the time frame. So there's lots of opportunities there with that. I just looking at the rewards now of like I'm pretty certain I could get up to room 10. I don't have to really push hard. But saying that, I have not gone into incursions without it's always been 5 stars. So I wonder whether or not bringing in a 6-star rank 3 would probably be a better option. But again, I
feel like it would be.
Yeah.
Like you want every edge you can, especially if you're really pushing beyond 10.
And that's the thing with the sleep, the rejuvenation chamber that Apocalypse possesses, because you could be like, okay, well either you've low health them and then you've kind of gone through several fights. further down the line he'd be able to regen back a certain amount. Unfortunately, you would need a high signature in order to get a substantial amount of regen back from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really would like to bring Apocalypse in, but I would like to get the rank 3 on him. Unfortunately,
yeah. My Incursions buddy, that he almost always brings Apocalypse, and I think most recently he's been using Horseman Wolverine.
Oh wow.
Usually, and I think he usually goes Apocalypse, Horseman Wolverine, and Clairvoyant as like the main team, because I mean, think that's like all the regen, right?
Yeah.
Keep yourself super sustainable, because I think that's what it really is at the end. Like I prefer like the champions like Mojo, or like the Champion, or Mephisto, that have a lot of regen naturally. But Captain Marvel movie is, once you get her in binary, and it's like she's killing them in like 15 hits, and you're starting with 20 charges, and there's 2 parries and 3 parries, and then you're back in binary in the next fight. It's amazing.
Yeah. There's lots. I do need to get back into doing Incursions. I've got to do some grind either at the end of this week or next week, because I'm out of practice with it, and since that's what I was looking forward to is new hacks. Not to say any problem with the old hacks. It's just something that kind of like adds new flavor that makes me kind of go, okay.
Variety's the spice of life. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, I think that's covered a lot of stuff when it comes to the game. I don't think there's anything except for, say, Odin's Gauntlets. I got to think, what are we now? Like are we week 2 or week 1 since they've been? God, we're only 1 week.
We're only 1 week, and it feels.
Dan?
Yeah, it's been a long 10 days of this thing. But it's settled down. I think most of the fuss this week was about the people that got the extra Uru, and got into tier 8 and tier 9 earlier than the rest of us, but that did actually help out the community by letting us know that buffed up is on the way, and that we actually have to bring counters.
Yes, which is only a good thing, but not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, you got to prepare adequately for that. So the boss, we had the boss rush come out this week as well. Before we divert away from MCOC, the boss rush came out this week. I thought it was a really well put together boss rush. It allowed for a lot of players to actually get an opportunity to grind it. I know some people have complained, this fight here, this fight there, but I actually thought that this was actually fairer than the last time there was a boss rush. Doesn't matter if it's
I think I haven't done it yet, because Archangel and Sunspot are on my AQ team this week, so I'm waiting for the weekend for AQ to be over, because it seems like Human Torch and not Sunspot, Human Torch. The other guy that just incinerates everything. Yeah. Human Torch and Archangel are on my AQ team, so I'm just going to wait for the weekend, because they seem to be the answer for everything. But yeah, I think it's been great. I loved how Dragon had those that tips and breakdowns blog post ready to go, and it seemed all the ladies of the community that helped design the fights were being super interactive and explaining what they were going for. And I saw like Lizer had a bunch of counters, and Star was doing her charity thing. So it I don't know, it feels like a good event.
Yeah, the way that, like, as I said, like, I just feel this is a bit more. I know there will be some disagreement in it being fairer. I just felt like there was things added to the fights which I don't think in previous ones they've done, like adding power shield, stun vulnerability, and also bleed vulnerability, which I felt that was kind of a nice added extra to put in some of these fights and some of the interactions, because they
a little bit of that Act 7 like help you.
Yeah.
A little bit like Star did with the Got a Light node on Elsa. Yeah, I would kind of agree. Like, it seems like Katie's Storm Pyramid X is probably considered the hardest one. It's also the last one.
Yeah.
But it's like all of them had a little bit of challenge to them, but there was no like Legacy Symbiote Supreme from a couple years ago where that one, I actually really love that fight. But it's a crapshoot at the same time. Like, you had to play it perfectly, and it was amazing, or you were gonna die. Like, really, really quick. So yeah, it kind of depends what you like. But all in all, I just love the boss rushes, love the community input. Full 5-star, 3,000 6-star shards for like 15 minutes of work.
Yeah,
6 fights.
Nice.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I like that. I think that helped me to get my because I did an opening. I got Cosmic Ghost Rider, so I was as a 5-star. So I'm happy with that. That was some good luck.
Yeah, I would think you're happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. I've been trying to. I had so many attempts on it, but I didn't know if I was ever going to get it, and I'm happy I got it. I just need to now then go right. Okay, well now, Rich, what are you planning to do with it? What kind of rotations are you putting it in? That'll be the next thing. Is just like, well, I need to have a place for it to go. I'm sure I'll find a place, but when you kind of go like, I've set myself up, like I've fully written all my Act 6.3 100% guide, so I'm going to be following that. And there may be times I then go, okay, well, I'm going to instead use this champion for this that I've got that I recently brought up, but I'm making a beeline to not to only rank up if it's really needed for Act 6.3. I'm trying to do it on the roster that I have without bringing anyone up for it. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to start as of next week. So
nice, getting back to it.
Yeah, I decided to kind of like change what my kind of like mantra, which was I need to 100% a path. No, I need to do one path of Abyss a month. But I kind of feel like the biggest problem with me doing Abyss is that it's such a longer wait. No, it's not a waste of time. It's a longer usage of time. Where say if I took 8 hours for one path and broke that over say 8 streams, I could probably do 3 paths to maybe 4 if it's good a night of 6.3.
Then you're clearing a quest probably every 2 streams.
And what I'm doing is I'm getting the endorphins. I've got that kind of that release that I've done something quicker. I've got a lot more achieved, and so far so good.
That's good.
Than I did last month, so it's back on it.
Very
this
good.
month.
Very good.
Okay, I think it's time for us to move on to this is the final time we're going to do this until next week, which we may then do a week break to then talk about
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. But we're going to be talking about the Wandavision finale. Everything.
Oh my goodness. Whoo! They threw the kitchen sink at this one.
Yeah. This is mad.
Just so much to talk about. I really love the episode. I loved how it kind of wrapped up the story of Westview. I do think we have to remember we're at the beginning of Phase 4, so they are starting stories, not ending stories. And most of the criticism I saw about this episode was that it didn't finish all of the thoughts. But I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I want to see more. If a show leaves you with unanswered questions and you want to see more, like, I think people are like, well, what's going to happen with Monica? Like, there was that, I think she's probably the classic example of like her character's story is just starting. Yeah. And she's going to go from that side player to a main focus somewhere else.
Yeah, so you do the narrative of the shows. I require elaboration.
Yes, I require elaboration. But it was, is great. I mean, it was really about the Hex and Westview and Agatha versus Scarlet Witch at the end of the day, which was very cool to see those two throw down. I love the sort of the whole family getting together. Yeah. The Visions going at it. And the twins.
You weren't trained for this, but you were born to do.
You were born for this. Yes.
Yeah, that's such a line.
And it's a great line. You really felt the pain that Wanda had caused the people of Westview, and her kind of taking that walk out of town after everything's been taken apart. Like that hits hard. But I mean, I think my favorite moment was just seeing her in the full Scarlet Witch costume for the first time after all these years.
Oh, it was
just an amazing design that I can't wait for us to see that again. Now that they've really powered her up and teased her as being, more powerful than Doctor Strange. And we already know they're going to be in a movie together. Like, they're clearly setting something up there.
Yeah, it's weird that she's reading that. Like, we end scene with her, or it's like there's a post-credit scene of her in like this little kind of like this little shack, and she's pouring this tea, and I'm thinking, oh, is this kind of like, where's this? Are we in the Himalayas? Is it going to like link into stuff?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like she's doing that thing where she's not astral kind of. Well, she's kind of like she's detracting.
Astral projection kind of thing. Yeah.
And she's reading the Book of the Damned, which I think is the Book of the Damned, isn't it?
A Darkhold, yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna like build into something big, and she hears.
And she hears the kids.
She hears the kids.
I mean, those were 2 A+ post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Monica and the Skrulls, and we assume that they're talking about Talos there.
Yeah.
So that's a tease for what's coming next with her. Sword, Skrulls, Secret Invasion, amazing. And then the fact that we know that the kids are still out there somewhere, clearly that's going to be Wanda's driving motivation going forward. So that was awesome.
Yeah. There's so many. There's one big question which I think we'll either find out in some future Marvel TV shows, and it may be in that one that's all about robotics. The one that's Don Cheadle starring. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, the Armor Wars. Is that what they're calling it?
Like, will that see the return of White Vision, or will White Vision have more of an impact elsewhere? Because it was like,
I know. I mean, he's just out there rogue somewhere.
What are you doing? Where are you going?
Oh my goodness.
We require elaboration.
Yeah, we require elaboration. Oh my goodness. I think now there were so many memes for this show. It was very memeable, but I think my favorite one was like Agatha being like, I want your power, and Scarlet Witch being no, and then Vision being Ship of Theseus, and White Vision being like, yes. Like that was my favorite, and it was and do you see the thing that Bettany like trolled us all about, like working with this actor he's always wanted to work with, and who he trusts implicitly, and of course it ended up being him in the White Vision makeup, but nobody had more fun with this than Paul Bettany. And you can understand why. It was just it was a great show. It made you feel all the feelings, gave us a lot to look forward to. Just an amazing start to Disney Plus Marvel shows. I'm trying to think of what else was out there. I think my other like little favorite moment was Darcy just skipping out on the debriefing, because she's probably had to sit through so many of those from the Thor movies. Just like, I know what this is, and it's not fun, so bye.
Yeah.
That was very Darcy.
And that's the thing, like, well, what's going to happen next for her? Where she might be kind of in... Because I was like, okay, I understood that kind of... Oh, that's funny. Right, okay. Where will she kind of, like, appear next? Because she got a lot of, like positive press. A lot of people really commending her, especially from like was it Thor, the Thor film. She's very kind of like been in the background. She comes back as a doctor. Even the character has been acted better, or maybe like the people behind WandaVision's direction or kind of the script gave her more of like a front and center, because I always kind of looked at it as like I wasn't really taking it very seriously. I was still trying to get over the meh thing.
Yeah, she was more of the comedic relief at kind of one note, but that character's had a chance to grow up, and she's not Jane Foster's intern anymore. Mm-hmm. So you've got just a much more confident character, and in the Thor movies, she's definitely like a background player, and Jane and Selvig were the brains, so she didn't get to shine. But now she's all grown up, and she's the big brain. So yeah, it was. I mean, it was just it's great to see characters like her and Jimmy Woo come back,
Yeah, absolutely,
and
Jimmy Woo.
we get to spend a little more time with them. And I think that's what we got to remember, right? Like, Scarlet Witch and Vision were like secondary Avengers, and they got their big moment with this. And like Monica's Rambo is, she was kind of secondary here, but she's powered up and she's gonna get her moment to shine. So it's just been it's been cool to see everybody kind of get their moment. Now let's talk about the one thing that is probably very divisive. Ralph Boner.
Oh God! Oh, I hate this.
They got away with it. They got away with it for the most part. But how did you feel about that?
They've just been doing Quicksilver dirty for years. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know how whoever.
What a troll!
If Kevin Feige is going this way with Quicksilver, then what is the actual point? Because now we technically don't have a Quicksilver moving forward to a degree, unless this multiverse thing opening up is a thing, or there's something else to this. But I'm disappointed really in that. That's the only thing.
I know it would have been. It would have been a lot more fun if it was Fox X-Men Pietro.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, somehow I'm not mad about it. So I don't know. There was so much else in that episode that they somehow got away with it. But yeah, I know. I mean, I think there were the people who were like, no, this is Pietro, and Michael Fassbender is going to show up and be the special guest at the end. So I guess if what you really wanted out of this is Fox X-Men showing up, then yeah, you're going to be disappointed. But I don't. We'll see. We will see on that. But all in all, I gotta say I enjoyed it. It was great to have something to talk about each week. New Marvel. I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. It looks like we're getting longer episodes. It's like 45 to 50 minutes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know. Have they released how many episodes?
I think it's was it 6, 7, something like that. I can't.
IMDb says 6.
6 it is. Then.
So it's probably going to have the total runtime of WandaVision, even though it's less episodes. It's just, I guess it's just how the narrative breaks up. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks talking about the first episode and seeing checking in on Sam and Bucky and their bromance.
Yeah. And also seeing how that ends and how that links into to other things as well. That's the other thing that I'm interested in, is how then and what it teases and where things go. Because we've got Loki and I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean the Zemo fanboys are out of their minds right now.
Yeah,
and with good reason, because talk about an interesting villain that couldn't get his full due because it was a very busy movie. Like it's tough to be the star when you've got all the Avengers and Black Panther and Spider-Man are appearing on screen for the first time. Like you're probably not going to get all the screen time. So this is going to be really really cool. And Sharon Carter's back as well.
That's really good.
Some old friends. Yes. Yeah. Looking forward to it. So I think that's it for WandaVision. So we had a lot of WandaVision to talk about. I don't know that we have a ton of Realm to talk about because not much happened this week.
It is a very... I don't know where to start with this. Realm's in a very bad situation at the moment. It's in a bad state. Because in the last week to 2 weeks, I think in the last week, a lot of people have left the game.
Yeah.
Where to really go? Start off with this. So Kabam got a lot of feedback when it came to their implementation of the World Quest. So they've just gone for a new World Quest that's gone out. It was way too difficult when they put it in, and then it took a little while for them to kind of like tame it back again. But there is a lot of people that have kind of now gone away from the game. A lot of people in an alliance have now stepped down, and a lot of people elsewhere. I mean, we've filled voids of people, but there's a lot of stuff that, and this is really taking information from people that I've spoken to, that they feel that Kabam haven't added enough when it comes to keeping people occupied. Now, I have heard that it does take a lot longer to develop stuff for the game. But we haven't had a new champion since December.
Right.
It's just a case of like where Kabam... I'm not like going to spend like all my time being rude to Kabam, but there's a difference between keeping retention of the players, and as well more players coming in because they're hyped on a new champion that is what they want to play with. Like, Thor would be one of those champions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a real tough one, because I've not really been interested in making any content on Realm. Like, I've been playing Realm, but I haven't been too interested with playing like Realm. There's been new stuff with MCOC, so I've been more interested with kind of going and playing MCOC. Also, I've been thinking about new ideas, and like I'm a bit more inspired the other way. And then when I kind of think, okay, I've got to make something on Realm, like what do I make? Well, there's nothing that really jumps out in that currently that I can make content-wise, because I can make a video on the world quest, but they were really difficult to do. Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, I think I've played the normal a couple times because the heroic just destroyed me. And overall it's been a little bit tough to find people to play with during kind of those quick windows when I can jump on and grab a few fights. Like, I've been trying to get my super soldier to defender tier, and even though he is 330, like, I'm just stuck in the mud in the mid 600s. Like, can't seem to get much progress. It's the same old thing. It's like you get a bad teammate or you get a bot, and that's kind of game over.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like, you don't see much to talk about. And I was thinking this week, like, contrasting with like the joy that the level up event brings us every 4 days. Like, I mean, that's why that Twitter account works. Like, there is a genuine joy in leveling up champions in MCOC, and like, it just doesn't feel the same way. I don't get the same high out of it in Realm, and there's less champs, and for people that have pushed ahead, like, you're probably maxed out on all your champs right now, and gearing them up is not feeling the same to me.
With an alliance now that kind of pushes a lot of the with like top 5, top 10, and even like some of the events, like I think we got second place in the champion advancement last week.
Oh, nice.
But it takes effort to do that, and like now I'm kind of like trying to get. Even now when I'm like pulling some decent gear, it's not really decent because it's not stuff competing with the others out there, especially on the levels of gear. But as well, like, there's just kind of like sidewind from that point. Like, the activity, I'm like looking at the Discord now for Marvel Realm of Champions, and it goes through. Usually it would be a case that there would be people regularly talking, and there would be very slim gaps between interactions with people. Now it's a case there's a 1 hour to 2 hour gap in places. There's gaps of like 10 to 20 minutes from people in talking, and it's like the last, like, we're recording this at
just not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. I'm not gonna like doom and gloom it, because I do want to continue playing. I want to see where I want Thor, really. I want to see where Thor is. And the thing is, when I'm looking at the flurry of chat in the general discussion, it's mainly like our alliance, so the Spank, Smash, and Slash alliance of 3x18. Those are the representatives that are chatting in there. Spider X, Dice Man, I think that person's in. Punk, Verax, JRed, all kind of members of our alliance. It's just like, well, I know of several other main active alliances, Riot, Gate, but it's like, this is a real problem, and as well, coming up to the point where we may be about 3 months away from Marvel Future Revolution, and going on some of their, tweets, responses, interaction, because that's
big.
They are getting like tons more traction.
They're ramping up. Did you see the Black Widow?
Yeah, that's the thing. They only need to put, like, even now, if you put Marvel, like, I get a hashtag for hashtag Marvel Future Revolution. They've got a trending hashtag. The Black Widow movie have even taken their design, as you say. I will kind of throw that up on screen for people watching on YouTube. But they have got that. They've retweeted that. No, they haven't. They've posted it. And the design looks amazing.
Oh, it looks so good. Yeah. Because they had that Storm one a couple weeks ago that looked amazing.
And this is the legitimate concern. I love Marvel Future, Marvel Revolutions, and Marvel. Oh god, it started, Dan. We even started.
Because if you look at, like, Realm not doing so hot, the Avengers game feels like that's kind of flamed out, at least from the people that I've seen that have tried it.
Yeah.
So there could be a real opening for Future Evolution if they get it right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Their interaction is just so much better because people are interested in the concept of game, and that's the thing we did talk about elements that we would have hoped Marvel Realm would have done to entice players, and the idea that because they both came up at the same time when they were doing a like promo saying, okay, well, here's Marvel Future Revolution, here's some gameplay at the same time. The concept of what they're doing opens up possibilities exactly similar to Realm. Realm's more MOBA element, and Marvel Future Rev is more MMORPG open world. So the difference is that where you've got more of the exploration type thing, you've got a World of Warcraft meets Marvel type game, versus something that's very restrictive and MOBA that's kind of like League of Legends meets Marvel, but its own kind of like little twist on it.
Yep.
And therein lies the problem. You get customization with Marvel Future Revolution, you get customization with Marvel Realm of Champions, but I think that players are going to be more interested in Marvel Future Rev than they will be in Marvel Realm. That's not, and again, no disrespect to Marvel Realm. I just kind of feel like, when you got a hunch about something and something seems like it's going to click.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I think it's a case of going like, well, we'll see what Marvel Realm. Like that's somebody said that. It's quite weird. Somebody who now has left the game said about 2 weeks ago, oh, this is a very early game. It's very early stages of the game, so it's going to do some low numbers. And I was like, not particularly, especially if you look at other mobile games that have just like hit the ground running, whether or not they've got a fan base behind it. Seven Deadly Sins had a devoted anime fan base behind it, so of course it's going to do well.
Right.
Diablo Immortal has got a massive fan base behind it, hence why most videos on YouTube do 80,000, and one person that used to stream Marvel Contest of Champions nearly made partner on Twitch in one day just by streaming Diablo Immortal. So shout out to Fark, by the way, Fark TM.
Very nice.
So it's like...
I was just looking at Twitter. The Marvel Future Revolution Twitter account has 2,000 more followers than Realm. And the game's not out. The game's not going to be out for months. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I think as well, a lot of things hurt the game, hurt Marvel Realm, because they promoted the game in the wrong areas. Not to say there's nothing wrong with promoting on Facebook, which they did, and there's nothing wrong overly promoting with YouTube, which they did. But some of the creators they chose were kind of the wrong people to choose in order to promote. And I think it's always good to like choose creators with large followings where you can see a really good conversion rate, or you can see that they are that people that are following and strongly support players, influencers and YouTubers and whatever, and kind of creators will go and they'll kind of like click on the links and stuff. Not to say there's anything wrong with like HackerMan doing some stuff or some other people doing it. I saw the person, I think the British person, create some kind of like very early on Iron Man like armoring, which looked terrible. They also promoted on a channel that had stream problems during it and had to down the stream partway through the sponsored stream. I just thought, this isn't the people they should be targeting. They need to be I know they did well with HackerMan and kind of like promoting with him, but I think they've only done MCOC with him, not Marvel Realm, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Either way, we'll probably have this discussion down the line when we change the podcast name to the Contest Revolution podcast. It's still the CR podcast, but it'll be the Contest Revolution podcast.
Just keep it as acronyms.
Yeah, CR podcast.
We'll be all right. But we'll have to see what country they do the closed beta in.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be that game again.
Yeah. Right, I think that's it. That's kind of like brings us round circle to a 50-minute of coverage. Dan, is there anything next week that you're up to?
Let's see. By the time this gets posted, I should have put out my Act 7.1.4 guide. So working on 7.15. Continuing on Cavalier. Do the boss rush this weekend. Grinding the gauntlet, enjoying the middle of the month.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing over the weekend, grinding out a bit of Arena. I will be trying to grab some units because I want to start. I want 100% 6.3 by the end of the month. Do a little opening and then kind of think about the following month, and then do 6.2, and then do 6.4 going into. Probably about May time, I want to say. I don't know. I've got a weekend that I might have off in April, and just to like relax. So I may find the time to kind of do a lot more of 6.4. But I want to stream it rather than do it when I'm not kind of like doing stuff. But apart from that, I've got a load of like little videos coming up next week, which I'm looking forward to, and. That really concludes it. So thanks everybody for coming on listening to the podcast. You can find the links in the description as always to Dan and Dan's site, and as well Dan on Twitter. Also make sure to like the podcast and follow, because that helps out a lot. And we'll see you all next week for episode 55. Thanks and bye-bye.